Hey y'all, tomorrow's a milestone day for me. It marks 90 days since I sold everything, retired, and moved to Thailand. In this video, I'm going to go over what life is like now for me and what I spent to get this new life started. Stay tuned. Life is about routines. I ditched the rat race routine of working long hours at a job I didn't like, didn't feel valued as an employee, and it took up way too much of my life. Yeah, it paid well, but I was living to work instead of working to live. The routine was work, eat, sleep, worry about finances, and try and make it to the weekend. My new routine is wake up every morning in paradise, open the door, look out at the water and the beach, and try and figure out where I'm going to have my first coffee. I do whatever I want, whenever I want, and I barely think about my finances anymore. I'm thinner, happier, and living my dream. I love the freedom I have now. I go at my own pace, and sometimes that pace would make a sloth look pretty speedy. I get to explore new places, eat amazing food, and enjoy happy, positive people in my life. But at what cost? I'm sure more than a few of you have already said, yeah, right, sounds too good to be true, or wishful thinking. Well, I'm living proof. Everything in this video is about exactly what I've actually done. No guessing. No, I saw it on YouTube or someone else told me. This is my life. Let's get into it and start with biggest expenses first. My biggest expense, and probably yours would be too, is rent. I pay 17,000 baht a month in rent. I got a 1,000 baht a month discount by paying 6 months at a time on a 1-year lease. So 2 segments of 6 months at a piece. I put down 102,000 baht plus 2 months deposit for a total of 136,000 baht or $3,785. You can spend a lot less or a lot more depending on what you like, where you want to live, how big of a place you want, how many people you need to take care of. All of those factors that make up your life are going to factor into your budget. It's just me. I'm fine in a little place. I have a 42 square meter, 1-bedroom condo with a beautiful view of the beach in a great location. Everything I need is within walking distance. And 17,000 baht comes to about 470 US dollars every month. It varies a little bit with the exchange rate, but not a whole lot. Now, my second biggest expense was around getting set up on my visa, getting my bank account set up, and my driver's licenses. Before you start, no comments are going to be allowed on the debate of whether or not I should or you should or anyone should or should not use an agent. This is all about what I did and what I spent. Everybody knows you can do these things on your own. I chose not to. For me, time is money, and I didn't want to be sitting at immigration or sitting at land transport, waiting in line, only to make it to the front and then be told, oh, you forgot something. Oh, you filled this out wrong. Come back tomorrow. Or land transport, go and make an appointment to come back in 2 months to actually get your license. I used an agent, and for me, it was worth every penny. I spent somewhere in the neighborhood of 40,000 baht to get all of that set up. Everything was smooth. She would come and pick me up, take me where I needed to go, expedite me through the line. Never a hassle, never a, oh, I forgot, in and out. And many times places like the bank, land transport, immigration, places that would take hours waiting, I was in and out in less than an hour. So 40,000 baht's about 1,125 US dollars for all of that. That gets me 15 months for my initial visa because it's 90 days for the first and then 12 months for the retirement visa. 2 years on the driver's licenses before they renew, and then they'll renew it 5 years each. And of course the bank account it's there forever for as long as I need it. So all set up, no hassle. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I didn't try and do it myself the first time. Maybe I will later. Maybe I will when I come up for renewal on my licenses, or when I come up for renewal on my next 1-year visa for retirement. But to get started, a lot of this move for me was about eliminating hassle, eliminating stress from my life. And the last thing I wanted was to come to a new country where I didn't know my way around, hadn't been through the processes before, and try and figure it out for myself. So we'll see what happens next time. But anyway, that's what I did. That's what I spent. Next up for big expenses is my health insurance. Now, when I first came to Thailand, I was using travel insurance through SafetyWing, and there's a link in the description down below if you're interested in travel insurance coming and going, or for short-term visits. Highly recommend them, not because I heard something else, not because I'm sponsored by them. I'm not sponsored by SafetyWing, but because I've used them myself. I trust them. I've had good experience with them, and I think it's a good value for the money. Up to you if you want to use it or not. Anyway, back to health insurance. I decided to get long-term local insurance here, and that insurance also has a 20,000 baht deductible. I did that to reduce the overall cost of the policy. I've never been one to get sick or get hurt. Of course, I say that I've already been to the hospital once for my eye, and I'll link a video here so you can see what that was all about. But I mean, other than that, I think I've broken one bone in my body, and that was my little toe during COVID when I walked into the door frame on a conference call. That was interesting. But anyway, healthcare here, first of all, is top quality. Thailand typically rates very high globally for quality of healthcare. Healthcare tourism is actually a big industry here in the country. So if one of the things you're worried about in your move, in your retirement, is the quality and cost of healthcare, I can tell you firsthand, the quality here is excellent, the care is amazing, and the cost is very cheap. So my health insurance policy for the year costs about $1,500. Compare that to what we were paying, or what I used to pay back in the U.S. It's so much cheaper here. Of course, it's just me. So again, your life situation might be different. You might have to cover more people. You might have some pre-existing conditions or other things like that. But me at 57, fairly healthy, $1,500 a year for that. So insurance. Hey, talking about global healthcare and quality of healthcare, I do get some analytics from YouTube that tells me about where my viewers are from, who's watching, when they're watching, that kind of thing. But y'all don't get to see that. So I'm not going to ask you to subscribe this time. How about right now, if you drop down into the comments and just put a comment on the country that you're watching this from, so I get a better idea of where everyone's from, and everyone else that's watching gets to see too. All right, let's keep going. Next big expense was a motorcycle, a motorbike. I said a few times, if you've watched my other videos, that I wanted to rent until I knew for sure where I'd be living long term. Not sure I'm going to stay here in Pattaya. I said I wanted to rent a couple different bikes, a couple different sizes, and try those out. But I started shopping as I was looking at rentals, and it occurred to me that today I started my Thai language classes. So I've got to be there twice a week. The freedom of being able to get out and go and explore Pattaya and the nearby area, and not have to wait on a Bolt, or not have to pay for a Bolt, or the bot bus is super cheap, super convenient, but they're slow because of all the stops they make. Anyway, after pricing bikes both used and new, it became obvious to me really quickly that the best thing for me was to just go ahead and buy a bike. So I bought a Honda Click 125. It's a fully automatic scooter, motorbike, and it's one of the most common ones here. So my thought was that if I do decide to move and I don't move the bike, it'd be fairly easy to sell and get a good chunk of that initial expenditure back in return. But $1,600 was the cost of the motorcycle. It's mine. I own it outright. That covers the tags, that covers the taxes, that covers the government required insurance for 1 year, all in that price. My next big expense was internet. A lot of these expenses are things that, at least in America, you typically pay on a monthly basis. But I'm going to link another video up here where I talked about things to do to prepare. And one of the things I mentioned was to make sure you bring a good chunk of cash with you, because if you'll notice, a lot of the things I'm talking about are bulk outlays. So you're going to lay out a lot of money right up front. And internet was one of those things. 1 year internet up front was $228 for the year. If you're in America, you've got internet and TV and maybe a premium channel or two, you're probably pushing $200 a month. But $228 American gets me 500 gig upload speed, 1 gig download speed, and it's just internet. I don't have TV. I watch Netflix from home and Amazon Prime Video. Not a big TV watcher, so I don't spend a lot of time there. There was no need for me to get a game channel or a sports channel. I just don't watch it. My last big expense, I mentioned that I started language school today. I paid for some beginner Thai classes twice a week, 2 hours a day for a few months. I think I paid for 60 hours. And if I'm burning 4 hours a week, I don't know, you do the math, however many weeks that comes to, like, what, 15? I don't know. That was $360. So not a whole lot for that, but that's something I'm definitely looking forward to, because I'm pretty sure that when I try and speak Thai now, I'm butchering the language and I get a lot of confused looks. I don't know if folks are just not expecting me to say a few words, or I'm really that far off when I'm saying them. But I hope it helps, and I'm looking forward to it. The rest of my expenses are just regular daily living expenses, and it's been so cheap. My electricity runs $25, $29 a month. Water is about $3.50 a month. My Thai phone number through True that I just pay for at 7-Eleven once a month, $6. My US phone, I ported my number to tello.com just so I could keep that US number for two-factor authentication and not have to do all those changes. That's another $6. And that's a whole lot cheaper than what I would have had to pay if I'd have stayed with T-Mobile, who was my provider back at home. And then food. I don't really cook. I've made some ramen, some little things here in the house on days when the weather's been bad, or just didn't feel like going out. I broke down once and ordered a pizza. But for the most part, eating out 2 meals a day. I've never been one to eat a whole lot of breakfast, so it's usually just coffee and maybe some fruit in the morning for me. But 2 meals during the day, and a lot of times I've got leftovers from those, so that's a snack or lunch the next day for me too. That's running me only about $200 a month, actually less than $200 a month. As far as getting set up, I also did some shopping for things around the condo that I needed, like sheets and towels and a big fan, little things like that, one-time expenses, but all of that came to less than $150. So if you haven't been adding up as I've been talking, what's that come to for out-of-pocket expenses for my first 3 months living here? Well, $9,925, less than $10,000. And look at how many of those monthly expenses are actually already paid for the entire year. Internet's paid for a year. Health insurance is paid for a year. My rent is paid for 6 months, all up front. But I know some of you like to factor that in for a monthly basis, right? So let's take a look at that monthly. If I average everything out, rent comes to about $470, electricity $30, water $3.50. The two phones combined is only $12. Internet is $19 a month. Food $200 a month, and my health insurance is $126. That's $860 a month. Now, sure, there's going to be miscellaneous other stuff like gas for the bike, which only costs about $4 to fill up. Bigger meals if I go and eat out. I like to treat myself to an ice cream from 7-Eleven once in a while. That's 20 baht once in a while for ice cream sandwich. Travel, end of the month, I'm heading up to Chiang Mai and Pai for a week, 10 days. So there will be other expenses, but as far as routine living expenses, I'm coming in under $900 a month. I actually had no idea it was that low. I thought I was going to be around $1,200 until I started looking at things and doing the math. So I even surprised myself while preparing to make this video. Now, let me just be clear though. I'm not living a hermit life. I'm not living in a roach motel. I live in a very nice condo building with plenty of amenities. It's got 2 pools. It's got a great gym. It's got a steam room. Excellent location, I mentioned, and I've got a great view. It's 42 square meters. That's big enough for me. I don't need a whole lot of space. It's just me, and I'm hardly ever in the room other than to sleep and then maybe a little bit in the evenings. But I don't spend a lot of time in the room, so I don't need a lot of space. But again, your preferences, your needs are going to dictate your budget. If you need a 2 or 3 bedroom condo, or you need something, or you don't care about a beach view, and you could go much lower, you could go much higher. But anyway, I love this simple life that I've built for myself here, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. You build the life that suits you based on your budget and your needs. You know, I love my simple life. I'm very thankful that so many of you are interested in what I'm doing, what I'm going through, what things cost here. I'm enjoying putting out videos like this, videos just about what I do day in and day out, things that might help you as you plan or consider moving abroad or moving here to Thailand or retiring here. I put videos like this out every Monday, and those are going to be just lifestyle videos. You know, what's life like for me? What's the cost of living here like? What am I doing for fun? What's it like to move here alone and live here knowing no one when you make the move? I also put out videos every Friday on real estate, because where you're going to live is going to be one of your greatest expenses. And for me, those videos were very helpful, helping me narrow down locations, helping me narrow down buildings, towns, everything. So if you have an interest in those come out on Fridays. Again, lifestyle videos come out on Monday. And if you'd like to see more of those, you know what to do. I promised I wouldn't ask you to subscribe, so I'm not gonna. Again, I love this simple life. I don't spend a whole lot of time in the room, so I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to go spend some time at the beach or the pool. I'll see you in the next one.